Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a gun and customization for me to run with. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below, and I will pick one of the upvoted comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from Spyro-N7. He says the Shock Trooper Loadout. F2000 attachments the 1.6 times scope, which is custom to the F2000 laser sight, angled grip, muzzle brake, or compensator. I chose to go with the compensator to reduce the side-to-side recoil. G18, M320 dart, or M320 LVG. I went with the dart. Defibrillator, offensive perk, any knife. Great for aggressive gameplay or any fast-paced modes, maps such as Rush. Don't be afraid to go charging headfirst into enemies. Hope this gets picked up. Keep up the awesome work. I will admit it's been a while since I used the F2000, mostly because I find it a very difficult weapon to use. I am always open to hearing new ways to actually run with the weapon and try and be effective with it. One thing that this gun certainly has going for it is the rate of fire. It is the third fastest firing assault rifle in the game, meaning you have excellent time to kill in close quarter engagement situations. So you're certainly not going to be at a disadvantage, at least for one-on-one engagements in close quarters. Now the thing that you have to be very careful with any high rate of fire weapon, especially assault rifles, is that you burn through your magazine so fast that if you are not efficient with your ammo, or you are not very accurate, you will actually not have enough bullets left over to take on a secondary target, which is very important for any gun that you're using in close quarter combat. More often than not, there is a second person behind the main person you're engaging, or close enough by to see you on the minimap and engage you within the next second or two. When you have a weapon that has a 2.7 second short reload, that means that you're going to be out of luck if somebody does get the drop on you or the flank, unless you're very good about switching to your sidearm, and even then most sidearms are pretty much out damaged by any primary weapon. Popping up the Simthic stats, you will see the 2.7 second short reload, and below that is the long reload of 3.9 seconds. Now I usually don't really focus on the long reloads, except that I ended up hitting them a lot with this weapon just because of the really high rate of fire. You tend to burn out your magazine if you're trying to engage a second target. So that is actually a really risky situation. 4 seconds is a lifetime in this game, especially in close quarters, so you have to have a sidearm that you can definitely rely on. The G18 in this case is actually a really good choice. I happen to be running it with a laser sight and suppressor just in case I want an option of trying to take out a target stealthily while I'm sneaking up behind somebody. Generally speaking, I don't find the M320 dart that useful compared to the grenade launcher. I really like the ability to punch through walls and cover with the grenade launcher. I just find that infinitely useful, but because of the reload time on the F2000, I actually ended up using the 320 dart a lot in close quarters because it is a great backup gun to have. If you say take out 2 targets in close quarters, you know there's a third. Hit 3 on the keyboard or whichever button brings up your grenade launcher if you're playing on console, take out a third target, and then if worse comes to worse and there's still a fourth target, you still have your pistol as backup. Now of course the M320 dart is a one-shot gun. Of course you have a reload, but you only get one shot before needing that reload, so precision is of utmost importance with that, and even then the precision doesn't always pay off. There's going to be a clip a little bit later in this video. You're going to see I hit somebody almost dead center mass from about 10 feet away, and it only does 75 damage to him. So every now and then you'll get something that feels like an instant kill, but netcode unfortunately doesn't always work in shotgun's favor. Now I like that this loadout gave me the option to choose between compensator or muzzle brake. Both are actually very important barrel attachments. The F2000 has pretty darn high recoil, both vertically and side to side. I chose to go with the compensator because the side to side recoil on the F2000 is crazy high. It's 0.4 pull left and 0.5 pull right, which is some of the highest for the assault rifles, and so I was looking to mitigate that as much as possible. It's not to say the muzzle brake isn't good on this weapon though. In fact, the muzzle brake combined with something like the angled foregrip can allow you to tap fire the F2000 somewhat effectively, and I do say somewhat effectively because it's still not going to be a great long range gun. And there is that 320 shotgun shot that pretty much hit dead center mass and didn't kill the guy. Now being annoyed in game is one thing, watching it back in slow-mo and seeing that I actually did hit the shot pretty darn well bothers me even more, but what are you gonna do? It's the netcode, we're just waiting on it to get better. Now the laser sight was wisely chosen for the F2000 as it already has good hip fire. The laser sight makes it even better and is going to allow you to hip fire a lot more in close quarters. In fact, you'll see that I do get quite a few hipfire kills in this video, just because it gives you that split-second extra advantage on your opponent. Now, I find it really weird, but I actually don't hate the 1.6 times scope on the F2000. Sure, there's a massive metal housing around it, but it still feels really solid as a scope overall. The sighting optic is really easy to see through, really easy to use. I don't find that I get it lost in any sort of firefights because it's got the black reference markers, which is something that you don't get on a lot of the other red dot sights. The good thing about having a black reference marker is that when you're in intense combat, say there's a lot of fire or explosions or bright white lights, the red dot sight unfortunately gets lost in all of that chaos, whereas the black reference markers actually show up really well. So having the combination of both of them is something I really like, and it's something that a lot of the 3.4 times sights and the 4 times sights offer you in this game, but not a lot of the 1 times red dot sights, except for this one on the F2000. Now, sadly, the F2000 really doesn't do so well in the aiming down sight accuracy. In fact, on average, it's worse than your average assault rifle, and because we're not putting a stubby grip on here or a heavy barrel, we're not really improving that aiming down sight accuracy. We are helping out the recoil a little bit with an angled foregrip, but regardless, at longer range engagements, you're going to be missing a lot of your shots even if your crosshair is dead center on target. There's not a lot you can do about that, and that is just one of the limiting factors with the F2000 unless you're amazing at controlling recoil and you can use this gun with a stubby grip and heavy barrel. I would not recommend that though. It's going to be very hard to do. Ultimately, I really enjoyed this loadout. Looking back on it, I might have even gone with the muzzle brake instead of the compensator and tried some of the tap firing with the F2000 to try and conserve my ammo a little bit better and deal with mid-range targets slightly more effectively. I can't say the F2000 overall is really warming up on me. I think it's still a very difficult weapon to use, and when you go up against most guns in the game, the reload speed on this gun and the overall lack of accuracy for anything beyond medium range really does hurt the overall performance. The real life characteristics and advantages of this weapon are something that I find really cool and very innovative. The compact design of the weapon, the ejection port being on the front of the gun. Unfortunately, these things just don't really carry over into the world of Battlefield. Perhaps in future iterations of Battlefield, they can add even more attributes to the stats of the gun to try and better simulate the real world advantages. Overall, I did enjoy this loadout, but I'm not loving the F2000. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave your comments down below letting me know what you would like me to run with for next week, and I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap signing off.